All right, hey everybody, welcome. I am so excited and glad that you're here. We're talking about how to master the first 10 minutes of ChatGPT. I want to welcome you. My name is John, and we're talking about ChatGPT and AI. And we've got some things that we're going to talk about tonight. We've also got some extra little special freebies that are going to happen at the end. So if you stay with me the whole time, I've got some really cool things we're going to be able to share with you, and I hope that you get a lot out of it. But what I want to do is, first of all, I just want to give you a little, level set on who I am and what we do. So my name is John, and this is AI over 40. People who are over 40 or 50, in my case, who want to get their toes wet with ChatGPT, kind of start playing around with AI and learning how to better utilize the applications that are out there, but might be a little concerned or afraid or not really sure how to get started with it, because not only will it help your job, it'll also help you if you want to do a side hustle and reinvent yourself and start a second act. That's what all this is for, to help you get the confidence you need to start playing and dabbling with ChatGPT and other AI products. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me put the slides up here. And so, how to get ChatGPT in the first 10 minutes. That's what we're going to do. We're going to try to transform confusion into confidence with simple techniques that deliver immediate results. So, we're going to spend a little bit of time here breaking down some mind shifts, and we're going to talk about some real world practical applications. We're actually going to go through ChatGPT together. We're going to play around with that. But first of all, I want to ask you a question. Most people who are just getting started with ChatGPT or Perplexity or Claude, there's so many different platforms out there. I'm going to mainly speak about ChatGPT because I think it's the easiest point of entry for everybody. But most people get underwhelming results because they don't really know how to use the tool effectively. So my question to you is, have you ever opened ChatGPT and typed something in and just felt overwhelmed with the answer? I liken it to this. If you could do anything, it really challenges you, because then what do you do? Because you can really do everything, and it could be very overwhelming. And that's how I felt the first time I ever started playing with ChatGPT. I thought, okay, great. I got this tool. How do I use it? What do I use it for? And what are the things that are going to get me the most bang for my buck to save me time and gain productivity, and really primarily to help me with my job and help me with any side hustles that I might have along the way. So we've all been there. We've all had those moments where we type something in and we're really confused by what we get back out, and we don't know what to do with it. So by the end of this session, here's what we're going to know. We're going to know, one, how to set ChatGPT up so that you can be successful. So that when you open up the app and you start typing in things, you'll get great results when you hit enter. Second, we're going to teach you a simple format, the R.I.S.E format, which stands for role, input, steps, and end goal. We're going to talk about that more in just a little bit, but you have to have a good framework for how you put your prompts in, which is what ChatGPT runs on. They run on prompts, and we'll talk about that as we go into this. But the other thing is, we want to avoid the bad answer trap. Now, this is what a lot of people complain about with ChatGPT. They type things in, they don't get the reply that they want, they don't get the information back that they want, or they get information that's not 100% correct. And that is one of the things that ChatGPT struggles with. Sometimes it gives you phantom information, and sometimes it just makes up information. We don't want to deal with that kind of thing. So we're going to avoid the bad answer trap. And then I'm going to give you a simple process to turn confusion into confidence so that you feel comfortable doing whatever you want to do using ChatGPT. So if you're ready for that, let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to talk about some setup and mindset shifts. So to set you up for success, the first thing we need to do is you need to take some time to really invest in this little bit of time that we have together by finding a distraction-free space. So if things are going crazy right now, find a quiet place, put some headphones on Make sure that you're distraction free. Have another window open. So we're going to open ChatGPT in just a few minutes. Have a notepad handy if you have some ideas. And then we're going to start really processing through what ChatGPT is. And the way you need to look at it, the mindset shift, is that ChatGPT is like a smart intern. It's an electronic intern. And I don't know if you've ever hired an intern or worked with an intern, but they need to be trained. They need to be taught what to do, how to think, and the process for which they need to do it. And ChatGPT is the exact same way. ChatGPT needs clear direction, and it needs feedback and refinement on what it does. So you don't just put one thing in and you go for it, and whatever you get out is whatever you get out. You need to make sure that you are putting great prompts in, that you're giving it clear direction, and that you're constantly refining and giving feedback on the information you're getting back from ChatGPT. And the other mindset, I cannot say that word tonight, mindset shift is this. You don't need to be techie. You don't have to have tech skills. You just need to be able to have some conversational clarity. And that just takes a moment to stop and think through. So let's talk about ChatGPT paid versus free. If you're someone who is really using ChatGPT for an hour or two a day, like me, it's better to have the paid plan, because what you can do is you can set up different projects within the chat that you can go to. Like, I have one ChatGPT that is primarily for, you know, emails, and one that's for marketing, and one that's for strategy. And what that does is that gives me the opportunity to really hone that in and refine the information that it's given me. But for someone like you who's just getting started, free is great. You don't need to spend any money on it, because here's what could happen. You get to a point where you're really in love with ChatGPT and you're like, oh, this is great. And then you discover Perplexity and you're like, oh, this is really great for other things. And then you get a pro plan there, and you get a pro plan with ChatGPT, and then you get to Claude and you're like, oh, this is awesome for writing and doing really hardcore, word processing. And then you get a paid plan for that. So next thing you know, you're up to $20, $80, $100 worth of fees for apps that you don't necessarily need. So the free plan for ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, all those different apps is fine until you start becoming a real power user, and then you can really process through, does it make sense for me to spend the money on it? But we can cross that bridge when we get there. So we need to talk about what prompts are. When you are instructing ChatGPT, it's taking prompts in. And what prompts are the things that you're telling this application to do. It's like that intern. You're programming this intern to make sure that this is the task that you want. It's very clear on what you're trying to accomplish, and it's very clear on what you want the outcome to be. So it takes a prompt. So there are three things that you need to have for a prompt to be successful. You need context. You have to be able to give ChatGPT a little bit of context about what you're trying to do. Like, I wouldn't set up a ChatGPT that's really focusing on marketing and then ask it, hey, I need you to create this, strategy for a new business that I'm thinking about starting. That's not helpful for you, because what you're doing is you're confusing the clarity. ChatGPT is really great when you're focused and you're giving it specific context for what you want it to do and how you want it to do it. And then with that context comes clarity. Clarity is huge. If you could take a couple seconds and think, okay, here's the context. I need to create a series of emails. And what do you want to accomplish? You need to get some clarity on what you want each email to say. It doesn't have to be everything, because that's what you're leaning on ChatGPT for. But what you need it to be is something that is clear, so that this machine can figure out, oh, this is what you want. You want each email to be a specific topic or a specific tone or a specific end goal in mind. So you're giving it context, you're giving it clarity, and you're giving it constraints, which is always one of the things that a lot of people struggle with, because you need to talk about word length. If you're trying to write a 2,000 word blog post and you're using ChatGPT to help you, you can't just type in, I need a blog post for X, Y, and Z. You need it to say, I need a 500 or 5,000 word blog post. You need it to be very specific on word count. You need to talk about tone. Like I'm very, almost goofy sometimes in some of my emails. I want to be funny. I want to be engaging. I also like to talk about movies in a lot of the emails that I send out, because I think movies and quotes from movies can help people connect to the concepts of what I'm talking about. So I'm always talking about, hey, fun, engaging, friendly, but trying to be something where I'm engaging with a quote from the latest, space movie, and then I want to give it a format. You want to tell it, I need this email, or I need a blog post, or I need a social media post, because it's going to figure out the context that you need, the clarity that you have, and then it's going to give you the constraints that you set forth. So once you do that, you're going to have better success in what you put into ChatGPT. So like a bad prompt would be an example of, write me an email. You've given it nothing. You've given it no parameters, you need no context, no clarity, no constraints. But a better way of putting that in is, I need you to write a 150 word email to a potential client, professional but friendly, inviting them to a Zoom call next week. Do you see the difference between, hey, I need you to write an email, or, I need you to write an email to a prospective client? You're giving it some clarity and you're giving it some constraints, all built around the context of what you've already told it to do. So the takeaway from this is, the more complex your input, the more useful the output. And I know that sounds crazy, because you're thinking, well, ChatGPT is trying to, supposed to help me work faster, and I'm not having to work as hard. But you have to put the brain power to it. It's still just a machine. You have to make sure that you are giving it the right context, clarity, and the constraints so they could be successful. And how do we do that? The best way is through this R.I.S.E framework. So, like I've mentioned before, I have a couple projects within my Chat GPT. And when I take you behind the scenes a little bit, you're going to see those projects. And each project has a specific role. I have one role for an email marketer. I have one role for a strategist. I have one role for social media posts. I have another role for products. All of these things, I've given it a role. You need to tell ChatGPT who to be. Now, I've heard people say that because, the new iterations of ChatGPT is coming out, you don't need to do this as much. But I honestly believe the more you do it, the better off you're going to be in the long run. You're going to figure out, the best way to communicate quickest is just to do it. Just give it a role. Let it know what you want, and let it know what role it's supposed to play. So you need to give it a role. Like, you're an expert X, Y, and Z. You're a strategist, or you're a teacher, or you're a marketing professional. And I would even go as far as giving it, you're a marketing professional with 20 years of experience, because what it's doing is it's starting to think, okay, if I've had 20 years of experience, the information that I'm going to go pull from the Chat GPT web is going to be as much information as I can pull, going as far back as it can go. So we could talk about some of the deeper meanings of what ChatGPT is and what it isn't later, but give it a role, give it a specific role so it can perform it and it can be successful. And so then R.I.S.E, R-I, you need to give it input, provide as much background, context, and specific details as possible. So I want to do a series of emails over the next 7 days. So what I do is I go in to my email chat group, the project that I have, and I say, I need an email series for 7 days. 2 of the emails need to be about X. 2 of the emails need to be about Y. 2 of the emails need to be about Z. And then 1 email that's just for fun. And then, mix them up. And so what it does is it takes that and says, okay, so I've got some parameters. And when it creates those emails, I go back and I refine them because it's like an intern. The first iteration is usually not the best, but it can learn and it can start to understand how I think and how I like to communicate. And so as I start teaching it more and more and more, it has to be refined less and less. It does it because I've trained it. So you've got the role, you've got the input, and the next you need the steps. You need to the best of your ability, outline the process you'd like it to follow. So when I go in and I want to create a new product, I go into my product project, say that 10 times fast, and I tell it I want to create a new ebook with the outcome of helping people craft better prompts. I want it to be starting from fresh, someone who's never really played with ChatGPT, and then gradually learning how to use this R.I.S.E framework. And then as they get more accomplished, they can start iterating it more and more and more complex. So what you're doing is you're creating an outline for the process you want to take. And so it'll take that information and it'll craft that ebook in such a way that it gives you the outline, the steps that you want to take, and it'll turn that back out and you can refine it and then you can take that and make an ebook out of it. But if there's something specific, like you know that there's a process that you want a person to go through because of this document that you're creating that ChatGPT is helping you for, then what you could do is you can give it those steps. Like I have an outline for a basic masterclass like I've done here. This is how I want this masterclass to be set up. And so I give it all the context and background that I can, and then it goes through the steps because we've done this a couple times. And then it just basically does it for me. It's awesome. It's really helpful. So you've got the role, you've got the input, you've got steps, and then you need the end goal. Every project, everything that you put into ChatGPT needs to have an end goal in mind. So you need to state the finished project or finished product that you need. Anytime you go into something like a masterclass or an ebook, you have to have that end goal. That's the point of pain that a lot of people are dealing with. So people who come to my site or social media sites are struggling with learning how to use ChatGPT. That's their pain point. So I try to figure out a way that I can start there and work my way backwards to what's the easiest steps that I can give them to where they feel more comfortable with ChatGPT. And that's the type of products that I put out or videos that I put out. That's how I come up with the content using the end goal always as the first step. I want to finish this project because I want someone to be this, and then work your way backwards. And ChatGPT is great with that. So that's the framework: role, input, steps, and end goal. It's great. So always remember R.I.S E. That'll help you in the long run. So let's look at this idea of the R.I.S E framework in action. So let's say you've created an email. You're writing an email to a coworker, and you're like, I've got this email, and I really need it to be more professional. Hey, I'll go to ChatGPT and let ChatGPT fix it. So you go in, you copy the email, and you type into ChatGPT, fix this email, you paste the email, and you send it off. Now, if you've been paying attention for the last 15 minutes, you know that you haven't given it any context, you haven't given it any clarity, and you certainly haven't given it any parameters that you want it to work under. So it's going to kick out a really generic email. It's not going to be exactly what you want. So a better application using the R.I.S.E format is act as a professional copy editor. Review this email, draft for tone and clarity, and suggest 3 improvements, then giving a polished version under 150 words. So the 3 improvements could be something that you give it, or ChatGPT will actually give you 3 improvements that it would suggest. So you can work together as a team and you come up with a better email. All right. So, uh, the bad answer trap. This is where ChatGPT has been struggling lately, if you've been paying any attention, because there's two things you need to know. One, ChatGPT does not necessarily go out to the web and pull the most current information. It's using information from when it was originally written up until today, and it's not necessarily pulling current context. It's pulling information from all the different people who have typed questions or put information into ChatGPT. It's pulling from those resources. There are other better GPTs out there that you could use, like a Perplexity, if you want it to be web search based. But since we're staying with ChatGPT, you need to know that there's sometimes information that's not accurate or current. And that's the other thing. Sometimes ChatGPT makes up phantom answers. So, again, if you're following the R.I.S.E framework and you're giving it the three C's, the context, clarity, and the constraints, you're probably going to find yourself in a much better shape. So, a lot of the pitfalls that we all fall into when we get bad answers is vague prompts. The more vague the prompt, the worse your answer is going to be from ChatGPT. You need to remember, never accept the first draft without at least one revision. Anytime I'm putting emails out or social media posts, it's constant revision because I want it to be better. And there's some things that ChatGPT does by nature that I'm always on guard for. We could talk about M dashes and all that stuff. ChatGPT puts some weird, you know, code into your chat sometimes. Like there's a dash that it'll put in that is really annoying, but it just does it because that's the way it's programmed. So I'm always on the lookout for that, and I have to remind it, hey, no M dashes, please. And then the other thing is overloading too many tasks in one chat at once. The best way to use ChatGPT is to just give it one prompt for one task. A simple fix is always refine, make this more concise, make this more friendly, make this more focused. Always remember that when you get something vague back from ChatGPT, ask it to refine it. Give it some more parameters. Maybe it didn't understand what you were asking. Second thing is ask, what do you need to improve this answer? If you ask ChatGPT for feedback from you, what do you need from me to help you accomplish this task? It will give you the things that it needs. And there's a lot of times, especially if I'm creating a product or creating something very special, I'll say, ask me all the questions you need for you to understand fully what I'm trying to accomplish. And it'll give me like 10 questions and I'll just answer them. And once it gets those 10 questions answered, it'll be ready to start working on the project, and then we'll refine it. We'll do all the things that we do. And then you always want to break those big requests down into smaller steps. When you're working on a big project and you have a ChatGPT email, like when I'm talking about, doing 7 days worth of emails in one sitting, I don't talk about all 7 emails at once. What I'll do is say, give me 7 email ideas and we'll refine those 7 ideas. And then I'll say, okay, let's flesh out email number 1. And then I'll give it the context and clarity that I want it to have, and then give it the constraints. And then I'll look at it and go, okay, let's work on this. And once we get that done, I'll say, great, let's flesh out email number 2. And we just go through the process. And for me to do 6 emails a week usually takes about an hour or 2. It depends on how complicated those emails are. So one good refinement can double the usefulness of an answer. Think about that. One refinement, one simple thing that you tell ChatGPT can double the output, double your success rate. It can give you more information. It can give you better answers. It can give you better solutions to your problem if you just make a couple of refinements. But one can change the game for you. Make sense? All right. So let's do a live walkthrough. All right. So what I need to do is I need to call up my website. So let's do that. So if you have your computers, now is a great time to go ahead and open up ChatGPT. And this is what my ChatGPT looks like. All right. You can see that I'm already using Chat version 5. But when I talk about projects, these are some of my projects. There's not all of them, but some of them. Products, social media, strategist. One of the coolest things, and I'll give this to you just for fun, you can tell ChatGPT to put a group together of some of the best thought leaders in whatever field. Like I have a marketing strategist within ChatGPT, and I talk about, I want on my board, I want, Alex Hermosi, I want Gary Vee. I've gone through and picked out some of the best Russell Brunson, guys like that who are incredible at marketing. And those are the guys that I want to have on my quote unquote board. And so what it does is it goes back and looks through all the information available to it that they've posted or questions or information that it's gathered over the years about those guys. And so when I say, what would Alex Hermosi do for X, Y, and Z, it pulls information and gives me something very close to what Alex would do. It's incredible. It's just one of those little project things. It's somebody taught me that a long time ago, and it's been incredibly beneficial. But this is part of the paid plan, so you won't have projects, but you'll have a list of chats that you've worked on. So let's work on this together. So call up ChatGPT if you haven't already. Just go to chatgpt.com. And let's just walk through a very simple project. All right. So the scenario is I need help planning a 3-day trip to Nashville, Tennessee with food, music, and history. All right. So let's just do this. It's a very vague prompt. So it's going to give me a very vague response. So day 1, classic Nashville vibes. Breakfast at Biscuit Love. You can explore Broadway Street. You've got all these really cool things. Lunch at Hattie B's, Country Music Hall of Fame, Johnny Cash Museum. So it gives me 3 days worth of ideas. And then it gives me some suggestions here. But this is very weak. It's kind of vague. It gives me kind of a smattering, if you will, of different things that I could do, but I really want it to be better. I really want it to be more about me. So what I want to do is I want to add context and clarity. Give me 3 days in Nashville. Whoops, spelling is fundamental. Nashville, Tennessee, with my wife and dog, because we have dogs and they travel with us a lot of time. What are some food and music options that are dog friendly and not too expensive, because we're all traveling on a budget. So this is going to give me a little bit more, and it's searching through different travel answers it's had over time. So now it's giving me way more information. It's giving me ideas, places that I can go. It's actually giving me price ranges. It's giving me places that, are dog friendly in Nashville. It gives me an itinerary for that. So this is just a great way to find things that you can do just on a trip. So one simple prompt was okay. The response was okay. It wasn't great, but what it did is it gave me the opportunity to go in and restructure it and give it more clarity and more conciseness in my prompt, because I forgot I'm traveling with my wife, I'm traveling with my dog. I want to make sure that all those places are dog friendly. So I don't know anything about Nashville, so help me out. So this gives me a better idea. And I can go back and keep reiterating this and doing it over and over again until I get exactly what I want. I could say, I'm looking for, places that dinners are under $50 per person, that are dog friendly, that have outdoor seating, that have a great cocktail and mocktail list, all of these things, and it'll do the research for me and kick out some more ideas. So that's just one way that you can plug in to ChatGPT and get responses. And again, it just keeps, I can't say this enough. It's that clarity. Now, watch this. Let's use the R.I.S.E formula. You are a Nashville, Tennessee travel expert. Give me a 3-day vacation that includes history, food, and music that is dog friendly and not too expensive. So I've given it a role. I've given it parameters: 3-day vacation, history, food, music, dog friendly, not too expensive. We're just refining it more and more, and we're using that R.I.S E formula. The framework helps. So it's giving me even more information. Dinner at Urban Grub, dog-friendly patio, upscale casual, southern seafood barbecue. So I have all these options now that I can go through, and I can even say, I need you to give me the number so I can make reservations, and it can do that for you. So the better prompting that you write, the better focused, the more that you employ the R.I.S E framework, the better off your prompts are going to be. Make sense? Again, if you have questions, put them in the chat. I'll get to them as soon as I possibly can. So this gives us kind of an idea of how ChatGPT can give us exactly what we want and help us get better at applying the tools that we have learned here today. So let's go back to the slides here. So a vague request. It's generic, unhelpful. It's a list of tourist attractions, which is great. It's not bad. But then we added more context and clarity. We got better results, but still not personalized enough. And then the last time when we applied the R.I.S E framework, we got a detailed, usable itinerary tailored to our specific needs. Dog-friendly, food that was under $50 a person. We have all these ideas that we can talk about. And when we start planning our trip, we have a better understanding of what's available. And then because we have a list of other places, if one place is not available because they don't have reservations, we can always go to a different place because we've gotten multiple different suggestions from ChatGPT. So it's just another way of making your life easier without having to go to Google Maps, to Google, to wherever you want to go to search up information. You don't have to go to Nashville.com. You don't have to go to all these different places, or, go to Yelp. You've got all these apps now. Everything is contained within one application, and that's ChatGPT. All right. So here we go. We want to transform from confusion to confidence. And how we do that? We want to begin small. Begin with single tasks to build confidence. Even basic prompts can be refined into valuable outputs. Help me write an email to a coworker discussing whatever it is that you want to focus on. Give me 150 words and make it friendly, and make sure that we include a Zoom meeting sometime next week, and then you iterate it. Your first prompt is rarely going to be your best. I mean, rarely going to be your best. So follow up with, make this more specific, or make sure this tone is better, or focus more on whatever aspect you want it to focus on. We keep talking about emails a lot, but it applies to ebooks and products and all the different things that ChatGPT can do. We haven't even scratched the surface on images, because I use it a little bit for images. I have other programs that I use personally, but it does images really well too. So you have to reiterate and iterate those and iterate those over and over again until you get exactly what you are looking for. And then you want to save your wins. When you get a great result, save the prompt that produced it as a template for future use. So what you want to do is, if you're on a Word, create a Word doc, or I didn't say Word, I meant Microsoft. If you're on a Microsoft Windows machine, create a Word doc, or create, some type of a sheet. If you're on a Mac, start a different note where you've got all your successful prompts. Just keep them somewhere. Put them up in Google Drive or wherever it is you store documents. Have a list of great prompts, and you can take one and you can change it. You might not need an email, but you need something more along the lines of a blog post, or vice versa. Save your wins. There's no need to keep reinventing the wheel. If you know you have something successful, all you have to do is take it, change the information that you need, change whatever parameters you need to, and then keep moving forward with it. And then just iterate it over and over again. So you have an action plan, all right? You've played with ChatGPT with me. If you have questions, hit me up in the comments. But what I want you to do is, I want you to choose one work task that you do repeatedly. Now, this could be a weekly email, a weekly report, something that you do for your business or your side hustle, something that you do repeatedly every week that you'd like some help with. And I want you to use the R.I.S.E format and create a prompt for that task. I want you to refine it until the output is truly useful and super successful. And then I want you to save that successful prompt as a template to use in the future. Okay? And remember, ChatGPT isn't magic. It's a tool that responds to your direction. The quality of your prompt determines the quality of your results. It's that intern that you have to train, that you have to retrain, that you have to refine. It's that intern that you have to keep talking to and making sure that they understand, this is what I'm looking for. This is how I do things. Make sure that you're doing all the things how I would do them, because when you do that, you're going to be useful for me. All right? So that is mastering ChatGPT for the first 10 minutes that you're on. So hopefully I've given you the tools. Hopefully I've given you the confidence to go play. Now, I promised you bonuses, and here's the bonuses. All right? I created a site, AI over 40. You can go to aiover40.net, and you can go there. It's a community for people in their 40s, people in their 50s and older, who are learning how to play with ChatGPT. I'm trying to call up my window here, and it's not working for me. There you go. It's a great place for people to come to get questions answered, to get support, to have me share the latest tips and tricks and what's going on, and how to use ChatGPT and all the other AI platforms to the best of your ability. And what I want to do is give you a place where you can reinvent your career, where you can reinvigorate it just by learning ChatGPT. I did a search last night for the top 25 high revenue skills for 2025. And you know what number one was? AI. If you're in your 40s or 50s and you're working for a company that you've been at for a while, and you're seeing all these young pups come up, and you feel like your position in the company's not as stable as it once was, learning AI is going to be the differentiator. Because while they might have a better grip on what AI can do, they don't have the wisdom and knowledge and experience that you have. So you could take the simple tool, and once you learn how to use it, you can employ all the things that make you special, that make you an asset to your company. Or if you have a side hustle, if you're building a business, AI is absolutely a game changer because it'll do nothing but help you succeed and move forward faster. So it just takes a few minutes a day of some focused work. And so, what I want to do is give you some tools that you can use. So, I want to introduce you to AIover40.net. And this is the community. It's completely free. Everything in here that you're seeing right now is completely free. Now, there are a few premium things that you can avail yourself of, but they're not have-tos. We are going to launch a premium newsletter where once a week you get one specific tool, one specific goal, and you get all the information you need to immediately take that and employ that into your business, into your company, into whatever that you're choosing to use AI for. But we haven't launched that yet, but it's coming. So this is a place where you can come. I'm putting not only great articles, but I'm also putting out resources, the story of second act successes, like Vera Wang. We all know the story of the Colonel from Kentucky Fried Chicken, Colonel Sanders, who started, Kentucky Fried Chicken in his 50s. I try to share some of those stories. I try to share some success stories as well. We talk about AI and will it really replace us all? A lot of really great resources just here on the front page. So when you go to AIover40.net, it's going to bring you to here. And then what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to log in. And again, it's free. Then you have the community site where you can interact with me and other members. You also have a classroom where there's options there for you. All of our master classes are going to be right here in the AI over 40 master classes. But the really fun part is the start here area. Tons of resources, cheat sheets, real life cases over 40, midlife prompt vault. We've got all sorts of really great tools at your disposal, all completely free. I want to avail you of it. I want to give it to you. I want to get it in your hands so that you can play with it. Again, it's completely free. And because you're here today, the masterclass that you're currently watching is going to have a replay that's going to live here on this website. So we're going to put the video here. We're also going to put a cheat sheet. We're also going to put the audio version. We're going to have a transcript. I'm going to share my slide deck. Everything that you can use to help you from this masterclass is going to go on one page so you can have all the resources. So you'll have the video, you'll have almost like a podcast that you can listen to, you'll also have the transcript, you'll also have the slide deck, you'll have everything that you can possibly use at your disposal completely free just for joining today. So go to AIover40.net, sign up, it's completely free for you. I would love to see you there. And it's just a great way that we can grow together and learn how to better utilize these tools like ChatGPT. And we're going to talk about Perplexity. We're going to talk about Claude. We're going to talk about image creation, video creation, a lot of things we're going to talk about in the future. We're going to be doing these weekly. The other thing about the school site is, AIover40.net is a school site, by the way. There's a calendar there. It's going to show you the dates that we're going to go live. I would like to start doing the live events there, but for now, YouTube is great. A lot of things. We've gamified some items there, so you'll be able to, track the progress that you're making as you start accomplishing some of the tasks inside of the site. There's just a lot there. I put a lot of time and effort into this. The AI Jumpstart Kit alone is worth $27. People would pay a lot of money, and trust me, if you start looking around for AI coaching, it can get expensive. So we're keeping all the costs down because I want you to have all the information you need. Because I was just like you, over 40, looking at this daunting thing called AI, trying to figure out, how do I make it work for me. So if you have questions, hit me up in the chat. Remember, go to aiover40.net. I want to thank you so much for your time. I want to thank you so much for investing in yourself and watching this. If you have questions, hit me up in the chat. Thank you so much, and I hope that you have an awesome day.